Hello my dear students, welcome back to computer science class. So in our previous video we had started the topic evolution of computers. So we will just refresh it within 2 minutes and then we will proceed. So we have discussed one of the first earliest computing machine, that was the abacus, which had come into existence in the year 2500 BC, and abacus was considered as the first calculating machine that was used for the counting purpose. Abacus was made up of beads and the chords, isn't it? Where beads were representing the digits, where the chords were representing the position of the decimal digits. So this abacus was able to perform addition, subtraction, division as well as the multiplication. Moving on to the next computing device we had discussed was about the Napier's bones that had come into existence in the year of 1614 AD. So this Napier's bone was being invented by Scottish mathematician known as the John Napier, wherein it was using the 9 rods from 1 to 9 and a constant rod 0. This Napier's bones was able to perform the multiplication, wherein each rod was representing the table of multiplication. Moving on to the next one, we had discussed about the slide rule, which had come into existence in the year of 1633 AD, wherein it was being invented by William Outred. This slide rule was working upon the one principle, isn't it? The actual distance from the starting point of the rule is directly proportional to the logarithm of the numbers printed on the rule. And this slide rule was able to perform the multiplication and division by the method of addition and subtraction. And then we had discussed about the adding machine Pascaline, isn't it? So this adding machine Pascaline was also called as rotating wheel calculator, which was being developed by the French philosopher known as the Blaise Pascal. And this adding machine is being considered as the first mechanical calculator also, and it's a predecessor for the today's electronic calculator. So this adding machine was initially, it was able to perform only addition and subtraction, and later, okay, as the upgradation took place, it was able to perform addition, subtraction, division as well as the multiplication in terms of the thousands of numbers. So this was all about the adding machine. And then we had Leibniz calculator, which had come into existence in the year of 1650, which was being built by the mathematician known as Gottfried Leibniz, which was able to perform addition, subtraction, division as well as the multiplication. Then we have discussed about the Jacquard's loom. In the year of 1801, Jacquard's loom, which was being invented by the Joseph Mary Jacquard. Okay, so it was a powered loom which used the punch wooden cards, which was able to incredibly weave the patterns of text and the images, and hence it was being considered as the first read-only memory device. And we have discussed about the Charles Babbage. Okay, he actually invented the difference engine, which was able to calculate, to solve the differential equations, which was being considered as the first automatic calculating machine. Later he thought of mechanical construction of it, and he called it as mechanical digital computer known as the analytical engine. That analytical engine was using the 5 units that laid a basic principles for the modern computer. Hence the Charles Babbage was being called as the father of computers. Moving on to the next, we had discussed about the last, that is the first programmer in the year of 1833, the first programmer, Lady Ada Lovelace. She was a mathematical genius. Okay, she actually wrote the notes for the analytical engine with the Charles Babbage. She worked, and she actually wrote the first computer algorithm she had written. That is why she's been considered as the first, world's first programmer. And she, in those days only, she was able to predict that the computers would perform more than the mathematical calculations. That too, she had already realized the essence of the analytical engine that was able to recognize the symbols and the music notations. Okay, and she called herself as the analyst as well as the metaphysician. Analyst in the sense, the person who does the analysis on certain things. Okay, then metaphysician means the person who's expert in the branch of philosophy. They will be called as the metaphysician. So she called herself as the analyst as well as the metaphysician. So now moving on to the last device that computing device that which we need to discuss is about the Hermann Hollerith, that is the tabulating machine. In the year of 1819 AD, okay, Hollerith tabulating machine had come into existence, which was being developed by an American known as the Hermann Hollerith, and he actually invented this tabulating machine that was able to count the population of US. Okay, so this Hermann Hollerith, he actually used the punch cards to read the data. In order to count for the population of USA, he used the punch cards. So this this one tabulating machine, it's an electronic machine that was able to read and process the data electronically by making use of the punched cards. By making use of this punched card, this tabulating machine was able to read and process the data. Okay, that was to count the population of USA. And therefore, this person, Hermann Hollerith, brought that punch card into the business, and he laid the foundation for the tabulating machine company known as the tabulating machine company, which is now commonly famously known as the IBM company. Okay, so this person, Hermann Hollerith, he actually invented a machine known as tabulating machine. It was an electronic machine. Okay, it was invented to count the population of USA. So this electronic machine was able to read and process the data by using this punched card. Punched wooden card. These are the punched cards which were being also used in the Jacquard's loom, isn't it? So later what happened, this person, Hermann Hollerith, brought this punch card into the business, and he laid the foundation for the company known as Tabulating Machine Company, which is now popularly called as the IBM company. So here IBM company actually stands for International Business Machine. Remember, they may ask for abbreviate IBM. So you should know that IBM stands for International Business Machine. So this completes the evolution of computers. Moving on to the next important topic, that is the generations of computers. So we need to discuss almost about 5 generations of computers. So let us start with this. So herein, in the first generations of the computer, an American person known as the Howard Aiken, okay, a person known as the Howard H. Aiken, he actually developed, okay, an electronic calculator for the US Navy called as Mark I. Okay, this person, Howard H. Aiken, he actually developed an electronic calculator, okay, for the US Navy called as the Mark I. This is the calculator what he has been developed. He was an engineer who has been working with the IBM company. So this first generation is in the between the year the 1940 to 1956. Whatever the invention had taken place, the devices for which were being used for the computing or the calculation purpose. So within this generation between 1940 to 1956, we are considering, they have considered it as the first generation of computers. So during that time, this person, okay, Howard H. Aiken, he developed an electronic calculator known as the Mark I. He was an engineer who has been working with the company that is IBM. And later, okay, and this one more question may arises. What does this Mark I calculator is also called as? It is also called as electronic relay computer. So this calculator was based upon the electronic relay computer. Fine. So at this period of time during the 1940 to 1956, there was another giant machine had come into existence known as the ENIAC. So there was during that particular duration between the 1940 to 1956, there was another development of the giant computer, that means big computer known as the ENIAC, where this one ENIAC, where ENIAC actually stands for the Electrical Numerical Integrator and Computer. Okay, Electrical Numerical Integrator and Computer. This machine had come into, this is the computer machine that had come into existence, which was being developed by the John W. Mauchly and J. Presper Eckert. Okay, later after this machine, again one more machine had come into existence in this period, that was the EDVAC computer. So this EDVAC computer, it actually stands for Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer. This was a very vast improvement over the previous ENIAC computer. Okay, then this one was also being developed by the John W. Mauchly and J. Presper Eckert itself. So during again between the 1940 to 1956, one more computer had come into existence known as that is UNIVAC. UNIVAC actually stands for Universal Automatic Computer. Okay, so during the first generation, that is between the 1940 to 1956, okay, there was a first invention by the Howard A. H. Aiken. Okay, he actually developed an Mark I electronic calculator for the US Navy, which is also called as an electronic relay computer. Okay, so during that time, the first computer system that had come into existence was the ENIAC. So ENIAC actually stands for the Electrical Numerical Integrator and Computer, which was being developed by John W. Mauchly and J. Presper Eckert. Again, there was one more computer which had come into existence, which was a very vast improvement on the ENIAC computer. That was the Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer, that is EDVAC. And lastly, again one more computer had come into existence, that is UNIVAC, known as Universal Automatic Computer. One question they'll be asking you, give the name the machines that had come in, name the computers that had that are the examples of the first generation. Then you have to mention as ENIAC, UNIVAC and the EDVAC. So these are the examples of the computers that had come into existence during the first generation. Then let us see what are the features of the first generations, then how these computers were there. Okay, so these are the points that you need to remember under this first generation. Anyway, notes will be provided to you. So let us see the first generation. So this is how the first generation was able to look. So these first generation computer systems were using the vacuum tubes, okay, for the internal operations. So lot of amount of heat was being generated, so that it made the computer systems to malfunction. Isn't it just like your bulb? Okay, you can see this is just like the bulb. So many vacuum tubes were being used in order to construct this such a big computer known as the ENIAC. Because of usage of these many vacuum tubes, lot amount of heat was being generated, that made the computer systems to malfunction. Malfunction means they were not behaving properly, abruptly they were terminating, they were not generating the results, okay, accurately. Sometime they may produce you the accurate result, and sometime if it is lot of amount of heat if it is generating, means that time the computer systems may give you the wrong results. So that way it was able to behave because of the usage of the huge amount of vacuum tubes. Then magnetic drums were being used for the memory purpose. Magnetic drums, okay, they were the external devices. Okay, so magnetic drums were being used for the memory purpose. And then punch cards were being used for the input and output. So this is what is the punch card we have seen in the Jacquard Loom, isn't it? And we have also seen in the Hermann Hollerith, that is tabulating machine, when we were discussing. So they were used. See, when I say about the computers, we need to know about what was being used, so that for the operation purpose, what was the device was being used for the memory purpose, what was the device that was being used for the printing purpose. Okay, what programming language the computers were been using. So in the first generation, they were using the vacuum tubes for the internal operations, as I have shown here. Because of enormous amount of heat was being generated, the computers tends to malfunction. So for the memory purpose, they were using what? magnetic drums were being used for the memory purpose, and then they were using punch cards were being used for both for the input as well as for the output purpose. And later machine level language was used for the programming. Machine level language means in the form of zeros and ones. Okay, so such kinds of programming language were being used in order to make the first computer systems to work. And then processing speed was very less, since it was the first generation computer. This was the first computer system that had come into existence, means obviously the processing, comparatively to now, the processing speed was very slow, and this was very expensive system. Okay, the system were very they were not at all powerful. Okay, and the systems were very huge and not portable. Can you see such a large computer systems are there? Then obviously it is not able to portable. That means that was not able to move. Okay, but now our laptops, our desktop computers, they are movable devices. But the first generation, they were very huge, hence they were not able to they were not portable. Then it did not had much memory at all, and they could solve only one problem at a time. So all these are the first generation computers features. So very important question you may arise here. So briefly explain the features of the first generation, that is 5 marks for they'll be asking for. So you need to mention all these features whatever we have discussed. Okay, then what are the examples of the first generation computer system? Means I said that is ENIAC, EDVAC and the UNIVAC. So they may ask you, write the features of the ENIAC. So these are the common features of the first generation. In that, what are the features, unique features of the ENIAC computer system? Okay, that is, ENIAC were using huge amount of vacuum tubes and a very long wires. So ENIAC computer systems were using huge amount of vacuum tubes. Around 2000 vacuum tubes it was using. 2000 vacuum tubes it was using, and around 1800 kilometers wires they were using for the construction of the ENIAC computer system. 18,000 kilometers wires, then you can imagine such a big computer it might be, isn't it? And they were using the punch cards for the input and output, and these ENIAC computers were occupying very large space. Okay, so these are the unique features of the ENIAC computer system. Apart from this, they were using for the calculations purpose, they were using one multiplier, one adder, one divider. Okay, for the calculation purpose they were using. Then it was it almost occupies around 167 square foot, it was square feet of floor it was able to occupy. So such a big computer systems were the ENIAC computer system. So when they ask for 5 marks question, you need to write all these points. And then when they specifically for 2 marks, they'll be asking, explain the features of ENIAC computer system. Then you just need to mention these 3 points. So you need not to mention how many vacuum tubes and how much kilometers long wires. So just in general, ENIAC were huge in number. Okay, they were using huge number of vacuum tubes and very long wires. Okay, and it used the punch cards for input output, and it occupies the large space. So these 3 points are more sufficient. Moving on to what are the features of EDVAC computer system? EDVAC would stands for Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer, isn't it? Yes, Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer. So this EDVAC, the unique features were, as I said, it is very much vast improvement over the ENIAC computer system. So main concept why to develop this EDVAC computer system is to have the memory within the computer itself. We were using what magnetic drums we were using in the first in the ENIAC computer system, but then there was a person known as John von Neumann. He suggested that the computer should have the internal memory. Then actually the EDVAC computer systems had come into existence. Now let us see what are the features of EDVAC system. The idea was to store the program inside the computer. When the program was being stored inside the computer, obviously its internal memory was more. EDVAC had more internal memory, and what they have used for the internal memory was, it was provided through the mercury delay lines by using, you can see here, Okay, these are the mercury delay lines. By using this mercury delay lines, they were able to maintain the internal, they were able to maintain the program inside the computer system, and hence the internal memory was very much more in comparatively to the ENIAC computer system. And these devices were using the binary numbers. They were using the binary numbers in the form of zeros and ones for the programming purpose. And again the last one, that is nothing but the Universal Automatic Computer, that is UNIVAC. It was the first ever commercial computer system that had come into existence, and it was actually built by the Remington brand, and it had come into existence in the United States. Okay, so we don't have much features about the UNIVAC. You just need to remember the points under the UNIVAC is that it was the first ever commercial computer produced in the United States by the Remington brand. So they'll be asking, important thing is they'll be asking about abbreviate ENIAC, abbreviate UNIVAC, and abbreviate EDVAC. Important question. Apart from this, they may also ask you 5 marks question, explain briefly the features of first generation. Then you need to list all those features. Then they may ask 2 marks question, explain the features, list the features of the ENIAC, then write those points. Okay, then features of EDVAC means uniquely whatever the features we have discussed, only these points you need to write. I hope students the concepts are clear to you. So in our next video we will discuss the next few more generation. Thank you students.